It's a somewhat cloudy but bright day today here in Copythorne at the temporary holiday site for the Camping and Caravan Club that we're at. And Wendy's just doing her daily clean up, sweeping the floor, wiping the surfaces, you know, that sort of stuff. We've got the chairs out because we don't think it's going to rain. And look at that, there's a little bit of blue sky up above there. And what that does, well, directly above, let me show you directly above, it's really cloudy. But we do have the wonderful 400 watt solar panel out. And we've got that plugged into the all powers. Just show you what we're getting there. Even on a cloudy day, that 400 watt is giving us 160 watts of input for the all powers power bank, which is actually keeping us nicely off grid for 53 days now, I think. We're by a main road, which makes it a little bit noisy. You can hear the cars going by. There's a few other people here. That's the steward's van up there. And just beyond that is actually a CL site. But the thing about this place is that it's about a 250, 300 yard walk. The Elson Point is beyond those little cabins there, into the sort of round by the farmhouse. As I say, it's quite a nice place. We've got one of our number. We arrived, was it yesterday? I don't know, the day before. One of our number, this guy here, tends to go out every day. So it is a temporary holiday site by Southampton. So we're here for 5 nights, I think, at what is it, £10 a night? I think it's £10 a night we're paying, isn't it, Wendy? £10 a night here.
Yeah, £10 a night. It's with the Camping and Caravan Club. Yeah.
With the Camping and Caravan. Sorry to interrupt your clean-up.
That's all right.
Wendy never minds being interrupted on the clean-up. It's a welcome break, isn't it?
It doesn't take too long.
You've got the kettle going.
Yeah.
Got the kettle on, making some coffee. And, you know, we're very happy to be able to sort of be off grid for such a long time. You know, although we are able to stay on these temporary holiday sites and pay the sort of quite a small fee, £10, but it gives us sort of that freedom to stay put somewhere to empty your rubbish, your toilets, grey waste, and all the rest of it. And then we don't need electric. Although we do use the power bank to run the electric kettle, which is so much more convenient. We do more kettling than cooking. So, you know, it's nice to be able to just pop the kettle on when you need to, rather than, you know, use the gas up. So using the kettle, the electric kettle, gives us a chance to extend the gas in the gas tanks. So, I think that trying to reduce our costs really, and the electricity that we use for the kettle and other bits and pieces for charging up, You know, I've got my laptop, which is plugged into the all powers. I've got it set up here. I'll just show you. I've got it set up here with all of the happy travellers stats up on screen. I've just been answering some comments. So all of that is free, essentially, because we can just get the solar panel out. As I say, that 400 watt panel in a sort of fairly, very cloudy day, it's quite bright. It gives us 160. It started off, if there's a little bit of a break in the cloud, it will go up to, 200 or 3. In bright direct sunlight, it will give us at least 400 watts. So I've seen it at 410, I think. But we were in Portugal at the time. So yeah, it's nice not to have that reliance on having to plug in, because you can't plug in, you can't be on hookup everywhere, can you? You need to be on a proper site, or when we go to Sussex, on that little CL we stay out often, they don't have electric, and the sun shines and we get the solar panel out and we're all good. The house battery also supplements that, so I can charge the all powers up a couple of times off the house battery before we need to sort of drive and recharge that one up. And I think that'll last even longer when we get more solar on the roof. So we have a hab check tomorrow, Friday, 9th of May, and we have the major service. Now, I know the van's not due officially to have a habitation check, or not due to have a service. Doesn't harm to get those done more frequently. It's not, I'm not one for overdoing servicing. I think, engines and vehicles are quite robust these days and don't need so much tending as they did back in the 70s and 80s. But given the lack of trust that I have in the dealer we bought this van from, then we've got to be a bit more cautious and make sure that we do take care of it. So we're going to have a major service done, habitation check. I think that's just for peace of mind. Get an independent view on how the van is internally. I'm not sure how much of a hab check they'll be able to do. All the cupboards are full. They're full of, we keep food up above the kitchen. I keep all my technical bits and pieces above there. Wendy keeps books and other bits and pieces, little bits of crafting and so on. Yeah, so they'll do what they can, and I'm not really fussed. I'm pretty confident the van's pretty good. I do have a worry about the sealant around the external seals, and I'll show you why. All these seals that you see here, you want them to be all nice and completely sealed up, because that'll allow water in. And I know that the dealers, I didn't really notice this because it was much cleaner, this black sealant down these, maybe that's the only sealant they had, but they thought they'd put it on. But it's not really great, is it? There's a little bit of a mark there, Bit of extra sealant there. What I think I'd like to do is to, really sort of give those a clean up. And then, you see up there as well, just up on the roof there, there's all that stuff there as well. All down, and then a bit more. I think that's maybe just dirt, I think, what I'd like to do is just sort of give those a really good clean up, and then maybe go around and just reseal what I could do with some white waterproof sealant. I don't know whether that's a DIY job or whether it should be done. Well, obviously it should be done professionally, shouldn't it? But I don't know. Could I do it? I don't know. Yeah, I'll just checking the power bank or the solar panel voltage again. We're getting 165 watts in, so that's quite nice. Also, I'll just show you behind me. You'll notice the TV is not here. These are the TV cables, but there are 4 holes here. Just get that in camera. Can't really get it. 4 holes just here. Unfortunately, Wendy tripped over a drawer that was open, walking backwards, and stumbled and fell against the TV here, knocking it. It didn't come off the wall, but Wendy almost fell out of the door that was open. It's a bit of a worry. TV, well, Wendy was trying to push it straight again, of course, but then it sort of came off and she was stuck there holding it, so I had to sort of leap up and assist in taking it off. But the screws are so really tiny, about this big, because that board there is quite slim. I think I've got a tape measure here. I can probably measure the thickness of that board. Yeah, it's 15 mil. It's a 15 mil board there, but then there's the fridge, and the side of the fridge is right up against the interior or the back of that board. So you've got to have only a sort of maximum of a 15 mil screw, because you've got the bracket to screw into, but I've now got to repair those 4 holes. So I'm thinking a bit of wood glue, knock those in there, but ideally little dowels, wouldn't you put in there if you could get them, and then let that all set, and then put the bracket back in the same place, because it was in pretty much the right place. And it's good to reuse the same holes, isn't it? I think, especially if they're completely solid. But you can't go through too much, because you'd hit the side of the fridge. So that's another. There's always a little repair to do, isn't there? I quite like little repairs to do, but I will say that I'm not really the best at doing repairs. Things can go wrong at times, and generally have on occasion. But I do my best, and try to make things work and, do things, more do it myself. I know, there's a lot of things that I don't want to do because they're just it could be too awful if it went wrong, like cutting holes in the roof. It would be too awful if I got that wrong. Maybe I'm getting less brave in my old age. I don't know. Maybe. But we muddle through, and I think that little repair will be easy. I'll just maybe drill those out a bit more and put a bigger piece of wood in, a proper sort of dowel in there with wood glue on it, and let that really set. Then a little pilot hole and put the screws back in. So we've got all the bracket, all the screw, the TV's not damaged. So we should be okay. But yeah, so but what's next? What's next? We're going from here to the Haven site. So we're going to a Haven holiday site at just £11 a night, everything included. So we won't be off grid then, which does allow us to go fully cook on electric. So we'll be doing that. We'll cook on electric. We use the slow cooker. What I'd like to do is just, on a more sunny day, I really want to get down to this. On a more sunny day, can the solar panel keep up with the slow cooker? Because we've got a Ramoska, which was, touted as the best thing since sliced bread. And it really is very good. But it runs, it's only low power, it's 400 watts. But I imagined that when it got to temperature, it would switch off and then would sense, there'd be a thermostat in there with switch it on and off as the temperature went up and down between nothing or 350 and 400 watts, whatever the temperatures that would create. But it appears that it runs at 400 watts all the time. Like if you leave it on for 4 hours, that will take 1600 watts of power. But could it put in, on a really sunny day, it would put 400 watts back in. So essentially that would run the slow cooker, wouldn't it? So, that would be pretty good. Also, when you stop running the slow cooker, then it just continues to charge up. So that's pretty good. But I don't think you could run the slow cooker and the kettle at the same time. It's a 2500 watt inverter. So the kettle's 1800. Maybe you could run them both. I know we've had a couple of things running from it and it's just stopped working. So, it just trips, and then you need to sort of press the reset button and then it works again. But there you go. All things to test out in the future. It's lovely to be off grid. Just being pretty much self-sufficient. We can only do the heating on gas because there's no electric heating, although we do have a oil based radiator thing, sort of low power. But again, I think if you leave that into a power bank overnight, your power bank's going to be dead in the morning because there's no solar overnight to recharge it. So maybe that's a good use of a separate power bank. Because I've been wondering why do you carry 3 power banks? Well, broadly because I bought one and then All Powers came along with the other 2, which are, I mean, to my mind, they're excellent. I sort of sometimes thinking maybe to get rid of the 3 power banks and get one huge one. Like the All Powers 4,000 watt, 4 kilowatt inverter. It's bigger, but I think they're so reliable. And then get a couple, maybe a couple of 400 watt solar panels to plug into that, or or more solar on the roof that you can plug straight in. And that's one of the things that we're looking at. Actually, tomorrow we'll get a quote. We'll know how much it costs to put, and if we can, put 600 watts of solar on the roof. And what I'm thinking of doing with that is to have the 600 watts of solar coming through the Victron controller that I've got onto the house battery. But before we go from the solar panels in series into the Victron charge controller, we'd have like a 2-way switch where I could switch the power from the solar panels away from the charge controller and just directly into the power bank on an XT60. So that would give me 600 watts of solar on the roof coming directly into the All Powers power bank. So that could be it. That those solar panels are out all the time, charge while I'm driving along. Because the portables are great for when you're static, aren't they? But they're no good for when you're driving along. And that's, if you're doing a bit of driving, you don't need power from the solar panels going to your house battery. Well, we don't need power going to the house battery because we've got the Orion XS feeding at least 50 amps. So we could then use the 600 watts of solar to go to the power banks. Seems like a really good solution. And I've seen somebody do, like you can get a 2-way switch. Position 1 goes to the house battery, position 2 goes to the power bank. And I think I'm right in saying that this power bank, the S2000 Pro, superb bit of kit, will take up to 1,000 watts of solar. I've checked it all out, and 600 watts in series. And in series because they reach charge voltage sooner for the house battery. They would go into the power bank, no problem. So that's good. Anyway, let's just go and see what Wendy's doing and make sure. Oh, she's reading. Oh, massive load of sunshine. Seems like I might be able to take my jumper off. Wendy's here sunbathing, aren't you, darling?
Yes, I am. Yeah. I'm reading a very good biography.
Jenny, the life of Lady Randolph Churchill. I'll get a shot of that.
Winston Churchill's mother.
Wendy likes Winston Churchill.
I do, yes. I've got the same initials as him, and I always felt that he was related to us in some way because he looks very much like my dad. What looked? Anyway, I love his speeches. He's very inspiring. But I'm interested. I like that sort of history, like Queen Victoria and all. the 1900s. I like to read biographies.
What we're going to say is happy
anyway.
VE Day to everybody.
That's right. It's very
We're recording this on VE Day.
Yeah, it is, yes.
And that's very appropriate, reading Winston Churchill book, or his mother anyway, on VE Day. And on that note, we'll say goodbye. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you again in the next one. Say goodbye, Wen.
Yeah, bye-bye, everyone.